Imagine you're in a massive gaming clan. You've had the same clan leader since 1989. He doesn't just call the shots, he is the shots. Every strategy, every alliance, every bit of loot distribution goes through him. Then, in one Saturday morning, raid by two rival clans you've been beefing with for decades, your leader's base is flattened. No. Just his base, his entire inner circle of admins is gone. That is exactly what happened in Tehran on the 28th of February, 2026. After years of shadowboxing, where Israel and Iran mostly hit each other's proxies or ships, the gloves finally came off. The US and Israel launched Operation Lion's Roar. This wasn't a warning shot. It was a delete account button for the Iranian leadership. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei wasn't just a president or a king. He was the supreme leader, in the Iranian terms of service, their constitution. He had the final say on everything, the nuclear program, the military, and whether the country goes to war. For 37 years, he was the fixed point in a chaotic region. When reports confirmed he was killed in a massive strike on his compound in Tehran, the brain of the Iranian state essentially went dark. Along with him, the head of the AGC Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the elite branch of the military that handles all the extra-curricular stuff like supporting militias, was also taken out. So, why now? Why didn't this happen in 2024 or 2025? Think of it like a landlord-tenant dispute that has been simmering for years. The tenant, Iran, keeps building a shed in the backyard that the landlord, the West, Israel, says is for making fireworks, nuclear weapons. The tenant says it is just for storage, peaceful energy. In early 2026, negotiations for a new lease, nuclear deal completely fell through. The US claimed they had intel that Iran was about to light the fuse. Meanwhile, internal protests in Iran had already weakened the government's grip. The US and Israel saw a window of opportunity to not just break the shed, but to evict the management entirely. When the news hit Truth Social and international wires, the reaction was instant. In some parts of Tehran, people actually celebrated, which is like fans cheering when a toxic coach finally gets fired. But in other areas, there was pure panic. The Iranian military didn't just sit there. They did what any cornered player does. They spammed every ability they had left. They launched hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles. But they didn't just target Israel. They targeted US bases in Qatar, the UAE, and Bahrain. To understand the chaos, think of the Middle East as a massive, toxic WhatsApp group chat. Iran was the admin who kept adding troll accounts, proxies like Hezbollah and the Houthis, to annoy the other members. Israel is the member who keeps reporting those trolls to the platform. The US is the super admin, who usually stays quiet but has the power to ban people. The Gulf states, Saudi, UAE, Qatar, are the members who just want to post about their new cars and business deals without the chat blowing up. By killing Khamenei, the US and Israel didn't just kick a troll, they deleted the main admin. No, the group chat has no one in charge. Everyone is screaming, and the trolls are tagging everyone in sight. No, comes the big question. Who runs the shop now? Iran has a backup plan, a succession council, but it's like a company losing its CEO, CFO, and CUFO all on the same day. There is no clear number two who has the same street cred or religious authority that Khamenei had. When there's a power vacuum this big, usually one of two things happens. The hardmen take over, the remaining generals of the IRGC's control to restore order, turning the country into a full military lockdown. The system crashes. The internal protests get so big that the whole Islamic Republic app stops working entirely. You might wonder why you should care if you're sitting thousands of miles away. Look at your gas station. Iran sits right next to the Strait of Hormuz. About 20% of the world's oil flows through that tiny gap. Iran has already threatened to block the door. If they do, oil prices don't just go up, they moon. We're talking about the price of everything. Amazon shipping, groceries, Uber rides, spiking overnight because the world's fuel tank is currently a war zone. From the US and Israeli perspective, this was a calculated risk. They believed that Iran's octopus strategy, where the head is in Tehran and the tentacles proxies are in Lebanon, Yemen, and Iraq, only works if the head is alive to give orders. By removing the head, they're betting the tentacles will eventually wither away. It's a high-risk, high-reward play. If it works, the Middle East gets a total reset. If it fails, we're looking at a forever war that makes the last 20 years look like a warm-up. The US, specifically the Trump administration in 2026, and Israel argue that the Iranian regime was an intolerable threat. They believe you can't negotiate with a government that is fundamentally built on death to America, Israel slogans. For them, this strike was a surgical removal of a cancer that was preventing regional peace. They see it as a liberation moment for the Iranian people. On the flip side, countries like China, Russia, and even some unofficials argue this was a massive violation of international law. You can't just go around deleting heads of state because you don't like their policies. They argue this move didn't make the world safer. It just turned a Cold War into a hot war and proved that no border is actually safe if a superpower decides it isn't. The old world order in the Middle East is officially dead. We are now in a period of maximum uncertainty, where the maps could be redrawn by the time you wake up tomorrow. If you want more breakdowns that actually explain the world instead of yelling about it, subscribe. We don't do panic here. We do clarity.